Hey family, hope everybody is well. I have an update that I want to share with you that came out on November the 11th, 2023. It is from the biometricupdate.com, and this is tied to the um, mark of the B system, and it has to do with the digital identity wallet that will be on your smartphones. So I thought this would be really um, good information to get out, especially for those who like to use your fingerprints or your faces to open your phone. Um, you are contributing to the delinquency of us all. And I know people think, oh, it's not a big deal. It is really a big deal. You don't really understand how big of a deal it is. But in any event, I'm going to give you some info. And I'm also going to click on this link up here that talks about the digital ID for all, because I want you to understand that this agenda is rolling on. We're all going to have some type of digital identification if we are left here, which is why I'm trying my best not to be here and try to stay awake and understand what's happening, because this stuff is going to come upon the ignorant quickly. But for those of us who are paying attention, you're seeing it gradually come together. You're seeing how they're putting it together. They're making announcements. And to me, when they telegraph it to us, it means that they already have things in place. And this is just a friendly service announcement, public service announcement that, hey, we're doing this thing and it's coming. So get ready. All right, so this story says smartphone biometrics peaking with digital identity wallet land rush. So it says growth across the full spectrum of biometrics implementation is reflected in this week's most read articles on Biometric Update, but most of all in mobile phones. Consumer mobile devices will store the digital identity wallets T systems is making with partners, and phones running Google software are refusing to edit photo ID cards. A MyTech survey on bank apps shows the importance of getting biometric authentication right. Meanwhile, Pangium's biometric software for airport systems are joining Big Bear AI's portfolio, and Touch Biometrics has launched a FAP60 sensor for enterprise and government applications. So as you can see, this biometric data plan, collecting this information for digital wallets that will be used globally for all sorts of, to track all sorts of movement wherever you move. If you access certain services, you need to do banking. So this cell phone is going to be your basically your prison warden. It's going to be in an open air prison. Top biometric news of the week. So it says Pakistan is introducing biometric checks for the head of each family with an applicant for an ID card to cut down on fraudulent IDs. NADRA, has taken other steps to secure the country's identity systems with biometrics this year, and is now also joining an investigation into where all the illegal documents are coming from. Australia's MyGov digital identity platform has been used to carry out US $2 billion in scams already this year, according to government stats. Phishing and other hacks are extracting large volumes of credentials, which are winding up on the dark web in commercial fraud products. Passkeys are being introduced to MyGov in a step to address one of the system's weaknesses. That's always been the weaknesses with anything digital. It's always been hackable. So, if this is happening now after all these decades of having digital stuff and having been forced into these um, digital systems to have our information stored, to use these cards, to use these digital devices, to allow certain things to be scanned, barcodes or whatever, driver's licenses, passports. How is it going to get any better? The more sophisticated the stuff gets, the more sophisticated the thieves get. So, it's just like during prohibition. When they outlawed alcohol here, people started making moonshine. People started making their own stuff and selling it. They had stills in the woods, and people are always going to find a way to have an illegal economy with stuff that's prohibited. And if you try to do something to, like this, that takes control from certain people, somebody's always going to try to subvert the system. So, like, I don't understand the logic, but I understand the people's need to control, the adversaries need to control people. He's the opposite of the Most High. The Most High will give you free will, and now, if you choose wrong, you're going to suffer the consequences. But the adversary likes to always try to find, manipulative, cunning ways to con you out of your freedom. And then they're like, oops, well, we tried. This is the problem. So let's, scoot over here and try this as a solution, and this will fix it. It never fixes it. So this is going to be a problem for all of us. It's already a problem. I can't tell you how many times I have been hacked since I have been using a computer and signing up for rewards points, or even just, our state tax assessor's office was hacked some years ago. Hospitals get hacked. Your medical information, your social, people who work inside of these companies steal your stuff and sell it. There's no way to protect your own stuff unless you have it on you, and that is, I'm sticking to that. If you can't go to an office like the Department of Health records and get your own paper copies of stuff and keep it in your house, and they have some secure way to, make sure that it is authentic. What I mean, I just don't really, I really don't understand how we're going to be safe. We're just not going to be safe. Anywho, let me get off my soapbox. The EU's Parliament and Council have agreed on the framework for the European digital ID wallets. The framework sets out a broad range of use cases for the wallet and credentials it can store for both public and private sector services, and stipulates that the wallet must be issued for free. IDEMIA weighs in with a post on the goals for the EUDIW and some common misconceptions about it. Deutsche Telekom subsidiary T-Systems is collaborating with Gaia X on a digital ID wallet intended to support self-sovereign identity and expected to be released next year. T-Systems is also working with Verimi on a digital wallet proof of concept for TAC consultants, providing identity verification and authentication as it increases its focus on digital wallets and IDs. Google has blocked the manipulation of photo ID documents on its Magic Editor to prevent people from committing fraud, and is now adding an error message to explain the limitation, at least on its newest Pixel devices. Human faces and ID cards are recognized by the app, which previously just ignored requests to alter them. Early successes are fueling ambitions at EU consent, with conference attendees last week suggesting the organization take on a key role in building standards for age assurance interoperability. Age verification has matured quickly, has have rules requiring it. Alabama is among the latest jurisdictions where lawmakers intend to pass new age requirements for websites with adult content. So this EU consent is for people who want to use the internet uh, and like parents can sign their kids up so their kids can't access adult content without, if they're not the appropriate age. The issue with this is a pilot. Because what's going to happen is, as parents sign up for this and think this is a good idea, not thinking that down the road, this is how they're going to ensnare everybody and get us into this digital ID to access the internet. So at the end of the day, you see how they always tie it to something that's supposed to be good. But the long game is you're going to need to show your identity or have a digital wallet and a digital ID in order to access the internet, because they're going to need to verify who you are. So the anonymity of using the internet will no longer be. And if you say things or do things that they don't like, they'll know exactly who you are, because everything is going to be linked back to that digital ID. Pangiam is merging with U.S. government technology provider BigBear.ai in a $70 million deal to create a complete portfolio of AI vision products. Big Bear has primarily served defense and intelligence agencies, while Pangiam's strength is in the air travel sector. Pangiam is carving a unique consolidation path as a public private partnership company that snapped up two face biometric providers in 2021. So here is where you're ready to see um, a lot of stuff happen. Pay attention to these two names, Pangiam and Big Bear, because these again are like pilots. People who work in these industries or work for the government is a very small, a limited number of people. But again, it's enough to be a test pilot if it's successful with them, because they have little choice. They have to do it or else they don't get their paycheck. Then they can roll it out to everybody else. Touch Biometrics says its new FAP60 sensor is the largest area and thinnest capacitive sensor on the market, built with thin film transistor technology. The TFT sensors is the first to market from the company and is built in collaboration with Sharp Display Technology. I have no idea. So I guess it has something to do with biometric um, I guess like imaging. If you present your face and maybe this company makes something that can quickly identify you with information that they've collected from all over the place already. So it says mobile driver's licenses are Americans' best hope to get access to digital services enjoyed by people elsewhere. Thales DIS Identity and Biometric Solutions Head of Federal Government Sales, Neville Pattinson, writes in a biometric update guest post. For this to happen, leadership is needed from some states to join the early adopters and from relying parties to start accepting them. So they're trying to get us to get mobile driver's licenses. Just say no. Australian media are reporting that a woman using Airbnb was unable to complete the facial recognition check it uses for identity verification because of the shade of her skin. Get out of here. Now, y'all know if this is a problem, Negroes gonna stay having a problem. And what about people who change the color of their hair or wear wigs or weave? People who get work done on their face. This is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. It's so stupid. Airbnb insisted to biometric update earlier this year that it does not use biometrics and did not respond to questions about the incident. So there's not any information about how about this incident. So I would have to go and look, but I don't know if like a guest was trying to enter a home and they had to show biometric information, or maybe I know before you didn't have to give up any type of identification to um, rent or to, yeah, I guess to rent from Airbnb. But the last time that I went on, they wanted you to upload like a identification, like a ID or passport or something. So I guess they're using that information. So if you use that information and they can't um, match it to anything, which means that they have access to some other type of um, databases or biometric data that they can use to verify who you are. So, we have to be really careful about accessing stuff. Everybody's trying to collect as much data as they can to build these huge servers to store all this information. So, they will always have something to compare whatever you give them to verify who you are. Um, so that's the end of this story, but I want to go to digital ID for all before I get out of here and let you look, see what's going on. Digital identity in developing nations. So here we go. With the UN Sustainable Development Goal 16.9 calling for legal identity for all by 2030, Biometric Update is taking a special in-depth focus on digital ID projects in developing countries with daily coverage of biometrics-based national digital identity projects. So I'll put a link to this here. Um, but here they have all sorts of stories. Infant fingerprinting. NEC infant fingerprinting system approaches move from vaccination delivery to legal ID. Get out of here. Get out of here. Mm, 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 mm. This came out in September of 2023. So it says ID Day was held this past Saturday, September 16th, in recognition of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 16 Target 9 to provide universal birth registration for children under 5 years old by 2030. One of the key projects in that effort is the development of fingerprint biometric systems that will work with infants. NEC reported success with a clinical trial earlier this year and moved on to a pilot at a hospital in preparation for a wider rollout. The system designed to support early childhood vaccinations. They're always trying to give you something. Ugh. Is part of a broader effort to provide legal identity to newborns and enable their identities to be safely authenticated. Why do babies need to be known? What the babies gonna do? Is the babies looking for a job? Do the babies need to get a mortgage, a phone bill? They got to get a driver's license. Why do they need to know who the baby is? Why do the babies need to have early vaccinations? What is this? Why can't the parents decide whether or not they want the government to know if they have a baby? What if you have a baby and you decide not to do this? You can't. Lord have mercy on us. Originally, NEC considered other biometric modalities such as iris, face, or vein recognition. Oh my word. Vein recognition? What is that? What even is that? But also whether this is a problem best addressed with emerging capabilities of contactless fingerprint biometrics. During an ID for Africa live cast held in 2021, NEC, notice this was when we was all sick, asked governments across Africa for feedback on the relative merits of contactless and traditional contact based fingerprints. Representatives of 8 countries told the company that they would prefer contact fingerprints in spite of the cough cough. The presence of sebum, an oily substance that protects newborn skin from drying out, makes feature extraction challenging. NEC's research indicate that some newborns are not bathed for the first month of life. See, that's some black people stuff, because y'all know we do that. We don't be giving our babies no bath. We be wiping them down and stuff because we don't be wanting our babies to get sick. So they over there messing with our people, practicing this stuff, and then they're gonna roll it out everywhere. No, here they go in Kenya. So um this is crazy. And it says NEC also observed a divide between urban and rural populations, necessitating on site research. The company settled on voice biometrics for parents or caregivers and fingerprint biometrics for newborns, enabling secure identity verification with little or no change to healthcare procedures. I just don't understand that. Why do we need to give you our baby's fingerprints when the baby is just a baby? What is the point? Why are they so concerned about sticking the children and giving them stuff? They never had to have these things before. And y'all know who is over all of the BAPs over there doing the experimentation, the computer guy who knows all things, and the organization that makes the owl sound, and apparently these people, the U and the N. But anyway, I'm not reading no more of this because this just tearing my nerves up. I just cannot. Anyway, I'm going to include a link to this digital ID spotlight so that you can read these stories. They are here everywhere. Biometric ID is a tool for migrant instrumentalization in Nigeria. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. Events in dozens of countries to mark 2023 ID Day. OpenID emphasizes human-centric approach, risk reduction for government ID implementation. 11 countries pledged to establish inclusive DPI as 50 in 5 campaign launches. And I don't know if you know about the 50 in 5. I think there's 50 nations in 5 years to become a digital society, which means they don't use any paper for anything. G20 recommends digital public infrastructure policy to drive financial inclusion. So they have all the stuff for Africa. You can see this is where they are. When I say they, I mean the powers are basically doing these pilots. And notice they're going to where very large populations of people and poor people who never had to do any of this stuff before are being forced into this. And they can't access any of the stuff that they used to do without going into this system. So you can't get a cell phone, you can't have a bank account, you can't do anything. If you have anything, because you're caught off guard, you can't access it unless you go through this process. And they'll give you a little, a grace period, but after that grace period, it's mandatory. So, again, this is another reason why you should be transitioning to primitive living, the season of discomfort, like I like to call it, and just preparing so that you won't be caught off guard. But their goal is to go cashless, currency free, so you won't be able to do anything with in society as we do it now without participating in their system, unless enough people create their own systems where they can barter and work together to operate without without going into this system, which I don't see that happening because not enough people are awakened. But you don't need a whole lot of people; you just need a few people to do it to start. Um, and then they have this Aadhaar project, and this is, I think, India's um, transition to the digital ID and digital wallet. And then interoperability initiatives. And y'all know that I told y'all interoperability just means how they're trying to make everything work with everything. So everything is cohesive. There is always overlap and everybody can access whatever they need. There's just a seamless system of things with this new transition when we have this new global order. And then they have the International Identity Day. Notice they ain't talking about none of this stuff in America. So, in any event, I'm going to end this video, but please, please, please read the stuff about the digital identities because these are your marks. These are your marks. You need to understand what they're going to look like. You need to understand how they're going to be sold to you, pushed to you. They're not hiding nothing. The agenda is clear. You got 6 years, and we don't even have 6 years. Really, we got a year and some months, I say, and maybe not even that long. But after COP28, things are gonna move real quick, because they'll be signing a couple of other treaties between now and say spring of 2024. And once those things get in place, no country has any sovereignty. You won't have any sovereignty, and you will have to make the choice of how you're going to participate in this new system. But it's coming. It's already here. If you got a cell phone, they're going to want you to have a digital wallet. They're going to want you to associate your digital ID with your SIM card. They're going to want you to have a digital ID in order to access a bank account. You're going to have all these things to participate in society. If you look at Walmart, if you look at a lot of these big box stores, they are implementing this stuff. The only way we're going to not do this is if enough people wake up and refuse to participate. If they can't get our money and if they can't get our labor, and if we're prepared now so that we can go without participating in their society, because at the end of the day, it's all about money and enslavement. So if we can stay home, if we have money, if we can pool our resources, if we can feed one another, if we could do all these different things, we could push back and their plans won't work. But if we go along with it and be like, oh, we don't have any choice, oh, it's no big deal, oh, this is not it yet, it just brings it accelerates the process of this thing happening a lot faster. But we're going to have to make choices. And so understanding what this looks like, what you can and cannot do with it and without it is really important. So you can't afford not to understand what's happening with these digital identity projects in these developing nations, because they're doing this everywhere else because they know the last frontier is America. But in my honest opinion, I think they are going to destroy this country. And so there's not going to be a need for any of that stuff here. And whatever little pockets of um, land that's left, I think by the time all the death and destruction and famine and illnesses and war, after everything, nobody's going to want to be here. And whoever is here is going to go along with whatever the agenda is, because there's just going to be so much death and destruction and hunger. People are going to be tired and they're going to be like, yes, give me that phone with that digital stuff on there and let me eat some rice. America is going to become a third world country. I know most people don't believe it, but I mean, based on biblical prophecy and the way that you see things being rolled out, notice that it's being rolled out here last. And you have to ask yourself, why? And it's got to be because the global order got to shift. In order for it to shift, you got to take the number one down so that the new number one can come to the top. It's like a football game, like Super Bowl. So I don't see us, a lot of us, being around here either because, a small percentage of us are going to be exited out of here, and the rest are going to have to duke it out with the adversary in order to survive. And those that do survive are going to be forced into this um, digital society in 15-minute cities, this whole new world that they have planned for whatever brief period until um, the day of the creator comes and he destroys all of it. So keep praying, keep prepping, keep seeking the Most High, stay in your word, keep the Sabbath, try to remember those laws, statutes, and commandments, get back to them, come out of this system. That's the most important thing. Understand there is no good, and there's just no good here when it comes to this system. And if you're still attached to stuff, if you're still attached to money, if you still think that whatever you have is going to save you for the long term, it is not. So, um, unless you plan on staying here and fighting and burning up and being hungry, you can't really be attached to nothing here. Only thing you can do is just pray you have the resources you need to survive whatever is coming until we leave. And that's my attitude. I just want to do, and I hate to say the bare minimum, but I just want what I need to have access to until it's time for us to leave. I'm ready. My spirit is ready. I'm tired. I'm tired of our people not getting along. I'm tired of our men not leading and broken and can't get right. Not saying that our community's dysfunction doesn't play a role in it, but at some point you have to take responsibility for your own self. Look at, your own self and try to get right, and not just for yourself, but for the collective. And as long as everybody's in Babylon, we're selfish, we're self-centered, we can't see, we can't hear. We act just like Babylonians. We act just like the Gentiles. And so until we are taken away from here, burned, refined, whatever the Most High sees for us, like, we're just going to be in disarray. So I'm really tired of living like this. I would like to have order again in our community, and I don't think we're ever going to have that as long as we are here. And especially in our community, since our enemy, the adversary, understands our weaknesses. They've studied us so much, so they know they have programmed so many of us to be dysfunctional, to continue to perpetrate the dysfunction. We export dysfunction for them to the world. And so it's just really a challenge. And for me, I'm just exhausted. I'm really exhausted. And again, if you're intelligent, if you are awakened, that's the type of intelligence I'm talking about. You're surrounded by ignorance, and it's very sad. And I'm just tired. So for those of y'all who are tired like me, I'm ready to go. I'm mentally checked out. I'm just going through the motion until that day comes. It's time for us to leave or whatever happens. I'm just trying to prepare my soul and my spirit and my mind for all the stuff that is to come, and for leaving, because this place is not going to, nobody wants it. Everybody's just sick of it. So you can't sustain something that like this. It's just dysfunctional. So we're at the end of time. We're at the end of a civilization, and we should be prepared for an exit or exodus or a grand finale or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. So please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification and make sure you hit all so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. If you are subscribed already, please make sure that you resubscribe, because a lot of the videos haven't been watched because of the tags that I use. And so the algorithms hide these videos. They don't want people to know nothing. And so if I'm talking about some jive stuff, they will let it go. If I was dancing and raccooning, I'd have thousands of views. But because I'm trying to tell y'all about what's coming next year, they don't want nobody to know the truth. So try to share the videos if possible. Even if you do it by text message or email. I know a lot of people are not into this type of stuff because it's doom and gloom and scary. So at least the blood won't be on your hands. If you are in the know and you're trying to share the information with other people, they don't get it, it's on them. They have to be responsible at the end of the day for not seeking out knowledge and wisdom from people who are knowledgeable and who possess more wisdom than them to help them navigate what's coming. Follow me on Rumble and Odyssey. Links are in the description. In the event that this channel is taken down, my backup content is on Odyssey, and I will upload new content on Rumble. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Links are in the description. In the event that I am kicked off the platform, because this is my primary platform, I'll let you know, and you can just join me on the other platforms. Lastly, if you'd like to support the channel, links are in the description. Any support that you give is greatly appreciated. This is a labor of love, and it takes time to read these stories and do this research to bring this information to you. So as we know, time is money, and time you can't get back. So any gifts that you give are greatly appreciated. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, because we are in trouble. And the Most High, the Creator, is the only one who can get us out of this. All right, y'all, this is